Hello and welcome to Assay TV. Today we're here with Galileo Mining and I have Brad Underwood, their managing director, on the line. Galileo is an Australian exploration company exploring the Fraser Range nickel belt in Western Australia. So Brad, good to see you here today. Tell us, how did Galileo get involved in the highly prospective Fraser Range region?
It's great to be here, Leo, and I can give you a brief background on the company. Our major shareholder is a guy called Mark Creasy, who is well known in Western Australia as a mining entrepreneur and explorer. And he's been active in the Fraser Range for almost 20 years, in fact. I worked for Mark over the previous 10 years as the general manager of his private exploration company. We listed Galileo on the ASX in 2018. We've only been around for 2 years in the public company arena, but we have been a private company for another 15 years before that. When we listed on the market, we took over some of the exploration assets from the Creasy Group into Galileo, and we now have those in joint venture with Mark Creasy. So that's a little bit of the history. I've worked for Mark for a long time, and the Fraser Range is one of Mark's major assets, and that's how we came to have the tenements.
Fantastic. So what makes the Fraser Range so exciting for nickel explorers, and how does it compare with other nickel belts globally?
Well, it's really kicked off in 2012 when there was a major discovery by a company called Sirius Resources. That was also another Mark Creasy-backed company. They had a huge value appreciation on the back of that discovery, and eventually they were taken out in 2015, just 3 years after the discovery, in a $1.8 billion transaction. So that attracted a lot of interest at the time. And subsequently in 2019, another Mark Creasy-backed company called Legend Mining also had some, and is continuing to have some success in the Fraser Range. They saw their share price go up from 2 cents to around 16 cents, and they're still drilling there with their massive sulfide intersections. So it's attracted a lot of interest. It's a new nickel belt. Western Australia has been a nickel producer for a long time, over 50 years, but it's in a separate area. This is a new nickel belt on the margin of the Archean rocks in the West Australia. And the best analogy is the Thompson nickel belt in Canada. That is an area that's had over 50 years of exploration. It has 140 million tons of resources. Compare that to the very similar geology in the Fraser Range. We only have 18 million tons of resources so far. And the difference is the time and effort. So investors can see that there is a lot of value creation that can occur in the Fraser Range. And when you compare it globally, you see that the potential for new resources is really significant. So we expect to see a number of discoveries come out of the Fraser Range in the next few years, and it's very exciting.
Fantastic. You listed in 2018, I think, and since that time you've undertaken significant nickel exploration in the Fraser Range. Can you give us a little update on the work you've done to date?
Yes, so when we took those tenements on, they were very much greenfields. They had detailed aeromagnetics and some gravity, but they'd never been drilled. So from the magnetics, we could tell that they were prospective. But over the past 2 years, we've gone back and completed a number of rounds of air core drilling, which is a technique just to drill beneath the cover. So these areas have very shallow sandstone on top beneath the target rocks. The idea is we come in, do some shallow air core drilling over the top, identify the rocks that are prospective, run some ground geophysical surveys, and that gives us the targets for drilling. So we've completed our first round of RC drilling earlier this year. We've intercepted disseminated nickel sulfides. We're now in the process of doing additional EM surveys ready for drilling in the next couple of months. So we've spent the last 2 years doing the lead up and background work for our programs that we have coming up, which have the chance of making a discovery. And it takes that amount of time and exploration to really build the targets up, understand the ground, to give us the best chance of success when we do those deeper drilling programs.
Sure. And in terms of funding this exploration program, I believe you recently raised $5 million in a very well-supported placement at a time that's of significant uncertainty in the capital markets, obviously. This must fill you with a lot of confidence that you're on the right path. So, yeah, how are you going to spend these funds going forward?
Well, it certainly does fill us with confidence. We're able to do the $5 million raise during the coronavirus lockdown. So without even seeing people in person, we're able to communicate the message about the Fraser Range via interviews such as this. Mm-hmm. And what it speaks to is and similar to what I mentioned before, the value in the Fraser Range when a discovery is made. Investors appreciate the value that can be created. They've seen it happen with Sirius Resources, with Legend Mining, and they know that we've got good ground. So they were very happy to support us. In fact, we were very much oversubscribed in that placement. And the money will be spent on drilling. So we're looking to expand the exploration we're currently doing to interrogate the entire tenement. And with the additional funds, it increases our chances of success by being able to complete more exploration drilling programs. So the money's going in the ground.
Mm. But there are hundreds of junior exploration companies around the world. Why should investors be looking at Galileo in 2020?
Well, that is true. There are a large number of junior exploration companies around. I think our key point of difference is that we are well funded. And the second point is that we spend our money on drilling programs. We have a history of drilling. Since we listed in 2018, we've completed over 10 drilling campaigns. I think that we have very prospective ground. We have the funds to explore it, and we have a good chance of success, which investors are very much interested in.
Fantastic. Well, good luck as you continue your drilling campaign in 2020, and very good to see you today.
Great to speak with you, Leo. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.